Welcome back. Ethical disability reporting goes beyond words. It's about responsibility. Let's explore how the media can do better.
Also, in your experience, how has disability reporting evolved over the years and what role has media played in shaping the public's perception of people with disability?
Yeah, so over the years, over the years we've had people with disability in the society, but we've never had stories of people with disability in the media. Since long time ago, there are like 1 billion people with disabilities in the world, but we never used to have stories of people with disability. But currently we have people with disability in the media, we have in the society, we have stories of people with disability in the media, but most importantly, we don't have the right representation of people with disability in the media. And this has been collaborated by so many researchers that have been done. The representation or the framing of disability in the media is still skewed. So we have disability in the media, we have disability in the society, but the wrong representation, which also just make people with disability continue being stigmatized. So what we are trying to do is have people with disability in the media with the right representation, with the right framing, because if we do that, then we are going to reduce the stigma of stigmatization of persons with disabilities, and we are going to have the right frames, the right language and the right stories in the media.
And what advice will you give to media professionals, upcoming journalists, editors and producers on how they can improve the reporting on disability?
First thing is to start interacting with people with disability. When you start interacting with them, you'll know the stories that they want to be told, you'll know the way they feel, and you'll be able to know the way they want it to be reported. And you'll be able also to realize people with disabilities have the same interests, the same ambition, they love, they get sick, they get disappointed just like a person with disability. So developing interest before even you start reporting. And nowadays there are so many online materials that can help journalists on how to report disability. UNESCO has a lot of material. Internews have done a lot. They have a whole page on disability reporting, so you can get tips there. And when you get maybe to hear trainings on disability reporting, you need to avail yourself so that you can learn so much, because disability reporting is an emerging issue. Not so many people have taken up. Actually, Murang'a University is the only university in Kenya that is offering disability reporting, and I can easily say it is the only university in Africa. Maybe if South Africa have started, but because I've done disability reporting across Africa, I've never like had journalists telling me we've learned this in school, and this is something we were working towards. So we are happy that Murang'a University is doing this. And when you guys graduate, we are happy that we have people there who are going out to represent disability in a good way. So it's just a call to other media professionals, other media houses, other media managers to embrace disability reporting so that we can have the right representation in the media.
And then as we wind up, what are some of the ways that you ensure as a producer, that is, how do you ensure that your show challenges the stereotypes and promotes authentic representation of people with disability?
How do I ensure that there's change? So in disability world, there's this term they say, nothing about us without us. So that is the first thing I learned very early. So nothing about us without us, it means not telling stories of person with disability without involving them, because they know where the shoe pinches. So for Able Differently, that was and still the mantra of Able Differently. We have people with disabilities as presenters presenting their own stories. We have stories that feature people with disabilities, caregivers of persons with disabilities, organization of persons with disabilities. So when you do that, then you are giving power to people with disability to tell their own story in the way they understand more of it. So for us, it's just providing technical help, like camera, production, direction, and also we have even crew members who are persons with disabilities. So that is how we've been able to change the narrative and representation.
Another question is, what changes would you like to see in the industry, the media industry?
I would like to see many presenters and more presenters as persons with disabilities. I would like to see journalists and reporters as people with disabilities. I would like to see interviews featuring people with disabilities. When we are talking about education, we have a person with disability there, a woman, a man, not just people. Not just people, we just want to have all people on the table. You know, when we started talking about gender mainstreaming, I'm also a feminist. I love those gender stuff. When we started talking about, we said when you have an interview, you have to have a man and a woman to balance. In disability reporting, we are saying you have a man, you have a woman, you have a person with disability. When we see a person with disability talking about education matters and that person is a professor, that is going to encourage a small child who has a disability who doesn't know what will happen to them in the future. When we see a person with disability who is an agriculturalist or who is doing farming and he has really excelled and is talking about it on TV. It is going to encourage other people with disabilities who are in the farms that they can convert their farms to be very profitable and they can earn a living. When we see people with disability doing TikTok and even talking about things that is not related to disability, it gives a small child or a parent who is under depression because they have a child with disability. When we see all those things happening, big things happening for persons with disability in the media, it encourages a child or a parent or a caregiver with a person with disability to change their perspective about disability.